Good morning, boys. For this session, this is the first session of Module 2 on sets. At this point, it is expected that you have already engaged, you have downloaded, you have studied the session 0 materials for sets. Ano? Yung PowerPoint in particular, meron ding attachments yun na videos, YouTube videos. No? Dapat napanood nyo na yan, dapat naaral mo na yung PowerPoint. There will be some, and dapat na-take mo na rin yung FA1A. Okay? Close na dapat yan, no? If you haven't answered it yet, at the time that you're watching this video, your teacher would have given you a 0 already for that formative assessment. Remember, entry tickets have to be taken before 8 a.m. on the day that you're supposed to take a math session. Okay? Now, for this session, you should be able to recall the important definitions from our materials, particularly on sets, no, and related terms to it. Okay. We will also in this session define special number sets. It was partially mentioned in the PowerPoint material that was assigned to you asynchronously, and some exercises. I think I made 6 here before we assign the tasks for the rest of the day and in preparation for our next session, right? Now, before anything else, I'd like to talk about the entry ticket items. It's a 10-point G form. Let's talk about the items and let's talk about the answers. Okay? Now, yung G form ko ay, kung di ko nagkakamali, naka-randomize yung order ng mga items. So, we're not sure which is number 1, 2, or 3. Depende sa kung ano yung order nung tinake mo siya, no? It was it's I think, if I remember correctly, randomized yan. But these are the same items, no? In no particular order. Okay? So let's start here. Which of the following is not an infinite set? Napag-aralan nyo sa PowerPoint, di ba? Pag sinabing infinite set, this is a set that contains infinitely many elements. No? Hindi mo mabibilang yung number of elements nito. Okay? So, alin daw dito sa tatlo? Ang hindi infinite set. Now, let's go through them one by one. The numbers divisible by 17. Infinite ba yan? Hindi ba yan infinite set? In fact, I can think of, well, ano ba numbers divisible by 17? Well, I can start with 17. Okay? 17 is divisible by 17. And then what if, what's the next number? Next larger number divisible by 17? Well, doble mo yung 17. You get what? 34. No? That's also divisible by 17. What's the next after that? You can imagine if I multiply 17 by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6, the resulting numbers will always be divisible by 17, and I can go on forever. No? Which means the set of the numbers divisible by 17 is an infinite set. So, hindi yan. No? How about the numbers less than 5? Numbers less than 5. Infinite set ba yan? O baka inisip nyo, sir, ano yan? Finite set yan, no? As opposed to being infinite. Finite set, ibig sabihin, meron ka lang limited number of elements. Nabibilang mo lang. Finite nga ba ang numbers less than 5? Sir, ano lang yan eh? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. O di, sir, finite. Natutunan nyo, di ba, sa grade school, grade 6, grade 5, grade 4, na meron tayong mga numbers in between these numbers. Particularly, mga fractions and decimals. For example, between 0 and 1, right? Between those two numbers is 1/2. No? In fraction form or in decimal form, it's 0.5. Tama ba? O in fact, number din naman yun eh. That's a number less than 5. In fact, sige, nahanap mo na, may number sa gitna ng 0 and 1, si 1/2. But in fact, between 1/2 and 1, meron ka pang number in between. No? Si 3/4. Not just 3/4. In fact, there are a lot more numbers in between that. And in fact, you can imagine, pwede mong palitin ng palitin. No? And you can go on forever. In other words, there are infinitely many numbers in between 0 and 1. The same is true of 3 and 4. No, there are infinitely many numbers between 3 and 4. In fact, in one of our lessons, we will talk about that as a property of numbers. Ano? Pabalikan natin yan. I guess in about, what? 2 months. No? But you can imagine, the set of the numbers less than 5 is also an infinite set. Which leaves us with the last one here. Well, if it's not the first two, then it must be the last one, sir. Tama naman. But, imagine this. Why is it not an infinite set? What numbers ba can divide 20? In other words, ano lang yung mga numbers na pwede mong gamitin as a divisor for 20 so that the resulting number is still a whole number. Diba? Limited lang yan. Anong pwede? 1. Pwede. Because 20 divided by 1 gives me a whole number. So, 1 divides 20. Si 2 also divides 20. Diba? 20 over 2 is also a whole number. Ano pa? Si 5. Si 4 muna pala. Ayan, si 4. 4 also divides 20. So does 5. So does 10. And so does 20. So ito mga numbers na to, ipunin natin yan ha. Sina 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. In fact, for now at least, no? For I guess the next month, these are the only numbers that can divide 20. Yeah. For now, tandaan niyo yung keyword ko na yun, for now. Kasi in about 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, we will expand our concept of numbers. But the idea is, even when we do expand our concept of numbers, no, the set that contains the numbers that can divide 20 is still finite. Okay? So that is our answer. How about the next one? This notation has no elements. Check ko yung mga sagot nyo. Maraming kamali dito. The answer is what? The answer is false. False yan. Ito nga, may isang element siya. Ayun. Sir, pwede bang element yan? Hindi ba, sir, sabi mo itong symbol na to is the symbol for the empty set or the null set? Correct. Pero, hindi naman sinabi na ganito, this notation has no elements. No? Had that been the question, the answer would have been true. However, note how this symbol, yung parang zero na may strikeout, is enclosed in braces. Ano pagkakaiba nun? Sir, ibig sabihin, etong symbol na ito at etong symbol na ito ay hindi pareho? Correct. Magkaiba yan. Itong una, this one, just by its lonesome, is the same as saying this. No? And they both mean an empty set. Okay? An empty set. Pareho yan. Null set, empty set. Yan yung symbol. However, when you write it like this, parang medyo OA yun, sir. Yung bracket, braces rather, in-enclose mo within braces yung symbol na ito. And then, in this particular case, it's not an empty set anymore. So, what is it, sir? It's a set containing a null set. Parang weird. A set containing a null set. Okay, so the set itself is not empty. Sir, medyo magulo sa utak ko yan. A set containing a null set. Okay, try to imagine this, boys. Imagine a shoebox. Okay, shoebox. And imagine your shoebox as a set. Okay, shoebox. Let's say the shoebox is, you remove the shoes from the shoebox. So, wala na sa loob ng shoebox. Okay? Ang tanong, ilan ang elements or ilang bagay ang nasa loob ng shoebox? Wala. Tinanggal mo nga yung laman eh. This, in our example, represents an empty set. It's a set, no? It's a box that contains nothing. Okay? Walang laman yung box ko. That is a good representation of an empty set. Okay. Now, imagine this. What if this empty shoebox ilagay mo sa loob ng isang mas malaking balikbayan box? Okay? Empty shoebox, lagay mo sa loob ng balikbayan box. Okay? At yun lang ang laman niya, yung shoebox lang. The big balikbayan box contains only an empty shoebox. Okay? Now imagine, yung bang balikbayan box mo may laman? Yes, may laman siya. Isang bagay lang ang laman niya. At ang laman niya lang ay isang shoebox. Pero yung shoebox mo lang laman. Di ba? So, your balikbayan box contains an empty shoebox in the same manner that your balikbayan box is like these symbols right here, and your empty shoebox is this symbol right here. So, by itself, itong symbol na ito is a set containing the null set. In the same manner that you have a big box that contains an empty smaller box. The balikbayan box itself is not empty. Tama? It contains one box. It's the box inside that contains nothing. O, diba? So, this does have an element. It has one element. In fact, ito ay isang example nung nakita natin definition na unit set. No? Or a singleton set. It's a set containing exactly one element. Yan yun. That's an example. Much like this. M. O yan. No? That's also a singleton set. Ano pa itsura ng singleton set? O ito, heart. O yan. Singleton set pa din. O ano pa? O yan. Lagyan natin. 5. That's also a singleton set. Okay? Next. Given that P is the set of clusters in the AJHS. Ano nga tong notation na to? Naalala ba to? Ito di ba? Ang ibig sabihin yan yung cardinality. Cardinality, no? Meaning the number of elements in a set. So if you have the set P, and then you write it in the notation n parenthesis P, what this means is you're looking for the number of elements in P. In other words, you're asking the cardinality of P. And this notation in the context of sets, sabi ang claim dito, the cardinality of P is 4. Tama ba? Ng cardinality ng P, given that P is the set of the clusters in the Ateneo Junior High School. 4 ba ang laman nun? That is true. No? You have, of course, Cardoner, Las Torta, Pamplona, and Montserrat. 4 clusters. So, that is correct. That is true. Next, the set M is a set of even numbers divisible by 5 is an empty set. Oh, wala daw laman yan. Ang tamang sagot dito ay ano? Ang sagot nyo. The answer is false. I mean, top of my head, I can immediately think of one element of M. No, even number that is divisible by 5. O di 10. Diba? 10 is an even number. Check. Is it divisible by 5? Check. O did that in itself, since I was able to find at least one element, or at least one number that satisfies my condition, that means M is not empty. Tama. Oh, in fact, it's an infinite set pa nga eh. Diba? Now, which of the following sets is not a well-defined set? Dapat ang sagot nyo rito ay set of regions ba in the Philippines? Well-defined yan. No? So, not this. Male Philippine presidents. Sigurado tayo. Ilang piraso lang yan. No? Mabibilang natin yan. Set of colors of the Philippine flag. No? The official Philippine flag. Ano lang ba kulay niyan? The white, yellow, red, and blue. So, no. So, ito. No? Ang sagot natin. But again, not just because of elimination of options. But why is it not a well-defined set? What makes it not well-defined? Very good. Ang tamang sagot dyan na ito, qualifier na to, beautiful. Well, paano masabing beautiful? Ang beautiful, ang pagiging beautiful ng isang province ay subjective. No? It's not well defined. When I say something is beautiful, it might not be beautiful for someone else. But if I say that, let's say, Joseph Estrada is a male Philippine president, then no one can deny that. Diba? Sureball yun. Okay? Ano yung tawag dito? Non-debatable yun. Diba? So that is not a well-defined set, the last one. Okay? Next set. There you go. Last 5. B is the set containing 2, 6, 8, 1, and 4. It's not written properly because elements must be written in ascending order. Your answer should have been, ano dapat? Not written properly daw yan. The answer is false. No? Remember, when you're writing the elements of a set, wala tayong pakialam sa order. Hindi kinakailangan yan na ascending order, hindi rin kinakailangan descending order, or whatever order. Walang problema yan. Kahit i-jumble ko yung laman yan, gawin kong 1, 4, 2, 6, 8. No? It's the same set. Siya pa din yan. Okay? Order does not matter when we list elements of a set. Maybe you'd like to list the elements in some order for your purpose, para lang systematic. No? But it's not a requirement when writing sets. Okay? The set of fun subjects, second one, in grade 7 is a well-defined set. I guess, by the same token of our discussion a while ago, fun subjects, what's fun for someone may not be fun for someone else. Diba? So, no, it's not a well-defined set. But hopefully, math is fun for you guys. Okay. Next, a set written in set builder notation lists all elements of that set. Diba? Pag set builder ba, nililista mo ba lahat ng elements ng set? The answer is false. Diba? When you list all elements of a set, that is the roster notation. Pag set builder, you are describing a certain rule, diba, that governs the membership of elements in that particular set. So, hindi mo nililista yung individual elements. Hindi mo nililista lahat ng elements. No? You clarify what rule or what condition must be met for a certain element to be a member of a certain set. Okay? Next, set B. Ba't puro B ito? Set B contains the letters in the word Ateneo. Which of the following is set B? Hoy, marami rin sumagot sa inyo. Eto. Mali. Sir, bakit mali? Ay, 2 beses na ulit yung iyo. Remember, an element is distinct. Okay? So, if you're talking about the letters in the word Ateneo, well, I see E was used twice in the word Ateneo, but it's the same letter. It's the same element. Diba? Which means my final answer should be this one. Ateno. Okay? Understood na yun, si Ateno. Andiyan siya. In fact, di ba ito rin ang set, if you think about it, that is also the set that contains the letters of the word annotate. Tama ba? Dami na ulit na letters doon. Pero, yan lang yung, when you write it in roster form, you do not write the same element more than once. Okay? Because they should be written, elements are distinct, dapat. No? Okay? And then the last one, this set, no? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is a unit set. Marami rin nagkamali rito. Ang sinagot nila ay, anong sagot nyo? False. Bakit? Sir, ang daming laman, no? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oy, remember, by convention, when we write sets, elements are supposed to be separated by commas. Sir, walang comma ito. Precisely, isang element lang yan. In fact, that's the number. Anong number ba yan? Lagyan natin ng comma dito sa period na ito. Comma and a comma here. Oh, that's 123,456,789. Eh, sir, ba't di mo nilagyan ng comma? Kasi pag i-identify mo siya as an element of a set, syempre hindi ka maglalagay ng commas. Because in the context of sets, the usage of commas, tawag dito, discriminates one element from another. Separates one element from another when you're listing. Okay? So that is a unit set. True. Okay? Right. Dali lang, di ba? That's your first entry ticket. Now, on to our discussion. Hopefully, you scored well, no? Kung hindi naman, okay lang, bawi next time. Okay? Now, when you study the PowerPoint, download it and study the PowerPoint, you probably remember encountering this slide. No, sabi natin, however, there are some letters that we sparingly use, no? Hindi natin masyadong ginagamit because they represent special number sets. Now, not all of these we will be able to use today, but as we progress into our discussions, one by one, mare-reveal yan kung bakit di natin ginagamit. Ano? Okay, so for now, let's reveal some of them. Sino dyan, ano dyan, yung mga special number sets. Ito, halimbawa, si N. The reason why we sparingly and deliberately use the letter N, because we reserve it to represent or to name the set of the natural numbers. No? Pag ginamit ko from here on in, Pag ginamit ko for any materials, worksheets, summative assessments even, no? Formative assessments, ang uppercase letter N in the lesson on sets, I will always mean that it's the set representing the naturals. And what are the naturals? The natural numbers. Kilala na natin to grade school pa lang as the counting numbers. In other words, ito sila pag ni-roster form natin, sila yan. Sina 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 blah. Those are your counting numbers. The smallest of which is 1. And walang largest natural number, no? Because they go on forever. Bilang ka lang. Right? So yan, natural numbers, that's 1. Whole numbers. Sino yung whole numbers? Tayo naman, i-reserve naman natin yung letter W for the whole numbers. Okay, so again, for all materials from here on in, when I use W, I'm referring to the whole numbers. Okay? Ang whole numbers, kung master mo kung ano ibig sabihin ng naturals, madali lang ang whole numbers. Kasi whole numbers ay natural numbers lang din at idagdag mo si 0. Okay? In other words, ito ang iyong whole numbers. It starts with 0, then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, much like you would go with your naturals. Okay? Yan ang ating whole numbers. Again, smallest whole number ko, 0. What's the largest, sir? Walang largest whole number. Okay? Next, your primes. Prime number daw. What are prime numbers, sir? A prime number, remember, no? These are, first and foremost, must be a natural number. Okay? Must be a natural number. Alam mo ni naturals kanina, di ba? 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Yeah. So, a prime number, first and foremost, has to be a natural number. Muna. Okay? Now, that's number 1. Number 2, kailangan maging greater than 1 siya. In fact, let's guide this, no? Let's chop up this definition. Let's use a pen here. First and foremost, a number, for it to be prime, it has to be a natural number muna. Okay? That's condition number 1. Condition number 2, your natural number should be greater than 1. That's condition number 2. And condition number 3, it should only be divisible by 1 in itself. That's condition number 3. For a number to be a prime number, it has to satisfy all 3 conditions. Again, number 1, must be natural, must be greater than 1, and must be divisible by 1 in itself only. Nothing else. Okay? So, we reserve the letter P for primes. Ganun din, whenever I use P, I'm talking about the primes. Sino yung mga primes natin? Ito, no? In roster form, your primes are these. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 ang next. No? 14 is not, 15 is not, 16 is not, 17 ang next. 18 is not, 19 is also prime, and so on and so forth. Prime numbers, ang set ng primes is also infinite. Okay? And well, although we do not reserve a letter for composites, we don't necessarily say C ang nire-reserve natin. No, we don't. Basta ang idea ay, if you're a natural number greater than 1 and you're not prime, then you must be composite. Okay? So again, kung ikaw ay natural number at greater than 1 ka, pero hindi ka divisible by 1 and yourself lang, then you're composite. In other words, yung 3 conditions kanina, you were only able to satisfy the first 2. No? Then that makes your number composite. Okay? However, mas interested tayo generally with the primes. Kasi if we understand what primes are, then differentiating between a prime and a composite is very easy. Kung magtatanong mo lang sarili mo, prime ba to o hindi? Pag hindi prime, composite yan. Okay? Now, factor. Granting na meet niya yung first 2 conditions kanina. Okay? Now, a factor, ito grade school pa lang, alam nyo na ibig sabihin dapat ng factors, refresher lang, these are numbers that divide another number evenly. So, for example, you have factors of 4. Sino ba yan? Sina 1, 2, and 4. Factors ng 10 ay sina 1, 2, 5, and 10. Now, you see, meron ako ditong red asterisk. Yeah? Red asterisk. What do you mean by that, sir? Again, as we progress in our math learning, particularly in this term, we will expand our concept of numbers. Pararamihin pa natin yung alam nyo ng mga klase ng numbers. And after we do that, the set of the factors of a certain number will also change. No? For now, when I ask you what are the factors of 4, I'm only expecting you to give me this set, no? The set containing 1, 2, and 4. However, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, when I ask again what are the factors of 4, iba ng set ang ibibigay mo sa akin. Okay? Pero tsaka na yun. For now, ito lang muna tayo. These numbers divide 4 evenly. Factors of 10, ito naman. Okay? Isa pa, ano pang ano natin? Yeah, multiples. Nung grade school, alam nyo na rin yan, ano? Multiples, basically, although yeah, that's a definition of multiples. Think of multiples as skip counting. Yeah, that's one of the skills that you should have mastered in grade school. Skip counting. When someone asks you for the multiples of a certain number, you skip count by that number. Pero, nakalagay kasi rito, it's obtained by multiplying a number by a whole number. Remember, 0 is a whole number. Which means that 0 is a multiple, well, of every number. Because 0 times any number will always be 0. Tama ba? Tama, di ba? Ano yun, di ba? Yung zero property of multiplication. So, pag tinanong ko halimbawa, anong multiples ng 4? O yan. I start with 0, then I skip count by 4. 0, then 4, 8, 12, 16, blah, 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 blah. Same thing, if I ask, what are the multiples of 10? Well, I start with 0 pa din. And then you go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, etc., etc. Now again, the same red asterisks, they mean the exact same explanation I gave a while ago. Okay? When we expand our concept of numbers, these definitions will also change. But for now, at least for this module on sets, okay na ako dyan. Multiples of a number, you start with 0, skip count. Okay? Right. Now, ito pa, grade school. Evens and odds. Yeah? I don't think I will need to discuss that any further. Alam natin evens and odds. But again, note the red asterisks. Yeah? When we expand our concept of numbers, we will expand these sets as well. Okay? Now, let's answer a couple of exercises here. Dapat, sabi ko nga, di ba, at this point, napag-aralan nyo na dapat yung asynchronous materials. And now we are familiar with the special number sets. Ito, nakikita na natin sila. Sina W, si N, si P. Tingnan natin, ha? First, the task is to write each set, which at the moment are written in set builder notation. Yeah, set builder yan, di ba? Sa PowerPoint, tinuruan ko pa kayo kung paano basahin yan. We need to write them in roster form. In other words, yung listing method, yeah, we list all the elements. Well, if we can, because there might be sets here that are infinite sets. Let's try it out. First one, write the following in roster form. Si set M, remember, pagbasa nito, ano? Paano basahin ito? The set M is the set of all X such that X is an element of the whole numbers. Alam na natin kung ano W ngayon. And X is less than 7. Hindi naman komplikado, di ba? So sabi unang-una, si M daw is the set containing all X such that X is a whole number. Now, had that been the only condition, ang dali. Sino may mga whole numbers mo? O sina 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. Di ba? However, there's now an additional condition. And, sabi and X is less than 7. Hindi pala lahat ng whole numbers. Yun lang palang mga less than 7. And nasan dito yung mga less than 7? Ito lang, sina 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stop there. 7 is not less than 7 anymore. So, ito lang pala yung kasama. So, when I write my final answer now, M in roster form is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's it. Di ba? Dali lang. Basta kailangan nyo marunong kayo mag-interpret ng set builder notation. Kailangan alam nyo kung ano ibig sabihin ng mga special number names. Special number set names, rather. No? Sina W, sina N, sina P, etc. Now, Set G, next one. Set G is the set of all y's such that y is an element of the naturals and y is greater than 16. Pwede natin bilisan ito ng konti. G daw. Natural ka, sabi, pero greater than 16. Kasama ba si 16 sa set G? Hindi, because 16 is not greater than 16. But what is the natural number? Smallest natural number that is greater than 16. Correct. It's 17. So you start from there, no? You 17, 18, 19, 20. Sir, hanggang kailan ba ako didiretso dito? Now, once you have established a sort of a pattern, which in this case is just adding one, you can now use your ellipsis. Okay? Na-discuss din natin yung paggamit ng ellipsis doon sa asynchronous material. And the next E, set E daw, is the set of all z's such that z is an element of the primes and z is less than 20. Primes na less than 20. Game, rock and roll. Kaya na natin enumerate yan. Let's start with the smallest prime. What is the smallest prime number? 2. Diba? In fact, isolate ko muna si 2, There is something special about the number 2. About being prime. No? What do you think? Pag-isipan nga, si 2, what's so special about 2 in the context of primality? Naisip nyo, si 2, prime siya, it's the smallest prime. But how is it not like the other primes? Now, maybe we can answer that question when we list the primes. Kasi, di ba ginagawa natin kay set E, di ba? So, what's the next prime after 2? 3. Next, 5. Then 7. Then 11. Then 13. Then 17 na sunod. Then 19. Actually, ang next prime natin, si 20, no, not prime. 21, not prime. 22, not prime. 23 is the next prime. However, our condition limits us to numbers, primes rather, less than 20. So, ito na yung sagot natin. Diba? Now, going back to the question a while ago, what's so special about 2 as a prime number? Look at all these. These are all primes. But how is 2 different? Making it special. A very special prime. Very good. Kung ang sagot nyo ay, sir, it's the only prime number that is even. Tama ka. No? 2 is the only even prime number. Walang iba na prime number na even number. All other even numbers in this particular context are composite. Okay? Ayos. Last set. Nasaan na yan? There you go. Set B. B contains all x such that x is a prime factor of 24. Okay? Ano yung mga factors ng 24? Muna. And then we can maybe shorten the list. Let's first list down the factors muna of 24. Then we'll identify which among those are prime. Okay? Ano ba factors ng 24? I'll teach you a neat trick here. When someone asks you for the factors of a certain number, especially for mathematical purposes, it is always good to list them in a certain order only because so that you do not forget to list a factor. And this is how I do it. Look at this. I'm looking for the factors of 24. Note how when you're talking about the factors of any whole number, your factors will always, the set of the factors will always start with 1 as the smallest factor. Yeah? And 24, the number itself, as the largest factor. Now, the only question is how many more factors are in between? Or are there, in fact, any more factors in between? Because had your number been prime, then your list is over. For example, you're asked, what are the factors of 7? No? Imbis na 24, what are the factors of 7? Again, for all whole numbers, I ask the factors. It will always start with 1 and end with the number itself, 7. But in the case of primes, that's where it stops. Because by definition, primes only have exactly 2 factors, 1 and the number itself. So tapos na usapan. Pag prime. Pero pag non-prime ang hinahanapan mo ng factors, meron pang iba yan sa gitna. Okay? Now, going back to what I was saying a while ago. whenever I list down the factors of a certain number, I start with 1, I end with the number itself. Then I go inward. Papasok. Yeah? I ask after 1, what is the next bigger number that divides 24? In other words, ano pang number dito ang divisible ng 24? After 2. After 1 rather. And that's the answer, 2. Diba? 24 is divisible by 2. So I list 2. Now, what's the purpose of that? Look at this. Wala akong malilimutan, no? Since I listed 2, meron dapat ka-partner yan dito sa kabilang side. Lower than 24. And now I ask myself, what number should I multiply by 2 to get 24? Kasi that's what factors are. Diba? You multiply them to get a certain number. And the answer is 12. Diba? 2 should be multiplied by 12 to get 24. So, dito pupunta si 12 mo ngayon. O, diba? O, next. After 2, anong next number ang pwede mo ipang-divide kay 24? Correct. The answer is 3. Now, again, ask yourself, what number do I multiply by 3 to get my original number 24? The answer is 8. Si 8 yung susunod dyan. O, diba? Wala kang malilimutan. After 3, ano next number na pwedeng divisible si 24? Answer is 4. Yeah? O, what do you multiply by 4 to get 24? Answer is 6. 6 yun nandyan. Ano number sunod? 5. O, 5 na lang. 4, 5, 6 eh. And 5 does not divide 24. So, your list is complete. Diba? And again, look at this, no? Look at, once you organize your factors like this, tingnan mabuti to. Pairings. 1 times 24 is what? 24. 2 times 12 is what? 24 pa rin. 3 times 8, 24 pa rin. 4 times 6, 24 pa din. Wala kang nalimutang ilista. O, diba? But we're not done yet. Remember, that's not the question. Tinatanong, ano dun sa mga factors ng 24 ang prime? O, sino lang ba yung prime dito sa mga factors na to? We, for now, only listed the factors of 24. But which among them are prime? Tong 1 is not prime. 2 is prime. Check. 3 is prime. Check. 4 is not. 6 is not. 8 is not. 12, 24 are not. Ano natira ko? Dalawa, 2 and 3. So, B, therefore, in roster form, is the set containing the elements 2 and 3. Those are the only prime factors of 24. In fact, down the road, when we talk about prime factorizations, when I ask you to write, what is the prime factorization of 24? You will express 24 as a product of just primes. Paano daw? Hahanap daw ako ng paraan na nagmumultiply ako ng mga numbers na puro primes lang and I get the answer 24. And how will you do that? Ito na sila, yung prime factors. Sila lang yung gagamitin mo to multiply, makukuha mo 24. Paano yun, sir? Hindi ganito, oh. Look, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Diba? Using the only 2 prime factors of 24, I'm able to come up with the prime factorization of 24. Babalikan natin yan down the road in future lessons. Okay? But for now, we have B containing 2 and 3. Next, G is a set of all y such that y is an odd multiple of 3. Sino-sino nga yung multiples ng 3? 0. Start tayo sa 0. Then I go skip counting. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, blah, blah, blah. Pero hinihingi, add. Sino dyan yung add? Add ba ang 0? Hindi. 6, hindi. 12, 18, hindi. That leaves me with what? Ito, 3, 9, 15, and so on. In fact, notice, parang may pattern nga yan, no? 3 to get to 9, I add 6. Diba? 9 to get to 15, I add 6. So, presumably, to get to the next odd multiple of 3 here, I add 6 to 15, which is 21. Which is correct. Tama pa rin. Odd multiple pa rin siya. Diba? So, G, therefore, is the set containing 3 plus 6 tayo ulit. 9 plus 6 tayo ulit. 15 plus 6 dyan. 21, and so on. That is G in roster form. Finally, E. Z is a prime multiple of 6. Ano nga ulit multiples ni 6? Lista muna natin. 0. Then, skip count. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Sino dyan ang primes? 0 by prime? Nope. 6 by prime? Nope. 12? Nope. Wait. No. Oh, wait. Ba't ganun? Pwede ba mangyari yan, sir? Parang wala namang prime sa mga multiples ng 6. Correct. All multiples of 6 are not prime. In other words, E, therefore, sir, wala namang prime multiple ng 6 pala. Yeah, sure. So, E must be a null set. Diba? Nagamit natin si null set or empty set. Okay, pwede yan. Right. Okay, so kung may magulong part dun sa ating discussion, you can always pause and go back and rewatch that part of the video. But for now, what do we have left to do, sir? Within the day, I will expect you, within the period, may oras pa. Take FA1B, okay, via Google Slides. Hanggang alas 4 mamaya, natanggapin ko ang answers nyo. Beyond that, late na. Beyond a certain amount of time, zero ko na yan. Okay? And before the next math session, magkikita-kita na tayo. Next math session, you download and study the async materials for session 2. Ano yan? Set relationships na yan. Okay? And then you take the entry ticket FA2A. Okay? Don't forget to consult if you need to. You have my email address. If other sections are watching this or not under my list of classes, you can consult your teacher, of course. Okay? Again, watch, rewatch, pause, rewind this video, change the playback speed depending on your taste. Okay? At sa iyong pace. Right, thank you!